A news broadcast announces the death of Diego, the youngest person on Earth. The year is 2027. Theo sips on coffee laced with alcohol when, without warning, a bomb detonates nearby. Humanity has been plagued by infertility for the past 18 years. Theo requests to work from home, realizing Diego's death has affected him more deeply than expected. Society teeters on the edge of collapse, with illegal immigrants being detained en masse by the government. Seeking solace, Theo visits his friend Jasper, who invites him to his home. They discuss the Human Project, a group of intellectuals dedicated to finding a cure for infertility. However, Theo expresses skepticism, believing it's too late as the world is already unraveling. Still shaken by the recent explosion, his ears ringing, Theo finds brief reprieve as Jasper puts on some music to lighten the mood. The following day, the world remains in mourning over Diego's death. Amid the chaos, Theo is kidnapped by a group calling themselves the Fishes. They advocate for equal rights for all immigrants in Britain. To Theo's surprise, a woman named Julianne, someone from his past, reveals herself as part of the group. She explains that the Fishes are not behind the bombings, accusing the government of orchestrating them to incite fear. The group seeks to recruit Theo, but he refuses, stating that he left politics behind 2 decades ago. Julianne asks Theo for help in escorting a young girl past heavily guarded security checkpoints. She offers him £5,000 in exchange for obtaining transit papers. Theo initially declines, citing the risks involved. Before parting ways, the group instructs him to leave a note on the notice board at Camden Tube if he changes his mind. Desperate for the documents, Theo visits his cousin Nigel, a government minister. To secure the papers, he fabricates a story about a girl who urgently needs to visit her dying brother. Nigel, moved by the tale, agrees to see what he can do. Theo informs the Fishes that he could only secure joint transit papers, requiring him to personally escort the girl. Reluctantly, he delivers the papers to Julianne and meets the girl, Key. Together, they set out for the designated location. During the journey, their car is stopped by a burning barricade on the road. Suddenly, a mob ambushes them. 2 men on motorbikes pursue their car, and one of them fatally shoots Julianne. In a desperate attempt to defend himself and the group, Theo fights back, causing their attackers to crash. The chaos continues as they are pursued by police. Luke, one of the Fishes, stops the car and shoots the officers to ensure their escape. Theo is enraged by the unnecessary killings but has no choice but to move on. The group buries Julianne, and Theo is left grief-stricken by the loss of someone he once deeply cared for. The group continues their journey and eventually stops at a farm, a designated safe house for the Fishes. Inside, they hold a vote to elect a new leader, and Luke is chosen. Meanwhile, Theo has a conversation with Key. She tells him that Julianne had shared the story of his son Dylan with her. Key asks Theo to take her to the boat, but Theo assures her that the Fishes will handle it. However, Key, trusting only Theo as per Julianne's instructions, reveals something unexpected. She is pregnant. The group discusses their next steps. Theo suggests they make Key's pregnancy public, believing it could serve as a powerful symbol for their cause. However, Key, being a refugee, makes her a target for the government. Key expresses a strong desire to reach the Human Project. Luke, respecting Key's autonomy, turns the decision over to her. He reassures her that she can stay and have the baby in safety, and once it's born, they will help her reach the Human Project. The choice, ultimately, is hers. That night, one of the Fishes is severely wounded after a violent encounter with the police. Theo overhears a disturbing conversation among the group. They reveal their true intentions, to use Key's baby as a symbol to rally support for their uprising. They admit to being responsible for Julianne's death and discuss their plan to move Key to another location before killing Theo to eliminate him as a threat. Shocked and betrayed, Theo immediately confides in Key, explaining the danger they're in. The two of them decide to escape. Theo sabotages the Fishes' vehicles, stealing one of the cars to make their getaway. Theo drives them to Jasper's house where they find temporary refuge. Miriam explains that the following day, a hospital ship disguised as a fishing boat will transport them to the Human Project. Jasper reassures them, emphasizing that Key's baby is the long-awaited miracle the world desperately needs. However, he warns that their journey won't be without consequences. They are likely to be arrested and sent to prison before they can board the boat. Jasper shares a painful memory with Miriam and Key. He tells them about Theo's son Dylan, who tragically passed away during the 2008 flu pandemic. In the middle of the night, an alarm blares. Someone is breaking into the house. It's the Fishes, back to track them down. Realizing the danger, Theo and Key quietly slip away, leaving Jasper behind. The Fishes demand to know where Theo is, but Jasper refuses to betray him. In a brutal act of retaliation, Luke shoots Jasper in the hand, then kills him. Theo, hiding nearby, is filled with anger and grief at the senseless murder of his friend. The fishes, unfazed, leave the house, leaving Theo to mourn yet another loss. The group seeks refuge in an abandoned house where Miriam opens up to Theo about her past. She reveals that she was once a midwife and witnessed a tragic pattern. 3 of her patients miscarried in just 1 week. The following week, 5 more suffered the same fate, and then no new pregnancies occurred at all. Miriam, deeply affected by the loss of life, reflects on the moment when human reproduction ceased. With a sense of bittersweet hope, Theo tells her that now, with Key's pregnancy, she will be there for a new beginning. A car pulls up outside, and Theo steps forward, calling out for Sid. Theo utters the phrase, "You're a fascist pig," which turns out to be a password. Sid, slightly amused, reveals that the whole password system was actually Jasper's idea. Meanwhile, Key begins experiencing painful contractions. Sid, sensing the urgency, takes them to the prison, where they will be treated as refugees. On the way, Miriam explains to Theo that the Human Project can only be contacted through a network of mirrors, with Julian having been their original mirror. Since Julian's death, the fishes have lost their link to the Human Project. Key's contractions grow more intense, and Miriam expresses concern that they're coming too frequently. Later that night, Key's water breaks. Her baby is about to arrive. As Key screams in pain, one of the officers hears and rushes inside. Miriam tries to shield her, but the officers forcefully take her away. The camp where refugees are being held is a place of cruelty and inhumane treatment. Amid the chaos, Theo and Key are separated at a security checkpoint. After passing through the checkpoint, Theo frantically searches for Key. He eventually meets a woman named Marichka, who leads them to a secluded room where Key is in excruciating pain. In that room, Key delivers her baby, a girl. The next morning, Sid arrives with urgent news. He reveals that a bomb explosion has created a hole in the camp's fence, and the fishes are attempting to infiltrate the area. Worse still, the army has plans to bomb the entire facility, threatening to destroy everything in its path. Sid sees that Key is holding her baby. He tells them they need to leave quickly, as he's seen their faces on the news, and knows there's a reward for their capture. He demands the baby, but Marichka intervenes, knocking him down and overpowering him. She fights off Sid, giving them a chance to escape. As they flee, they encounter a mob of protesters. Marichka leads them through the turmoil and takes them to a safe place. Key decides to name her daughter Bazooka. A man informs them that they'll be leaving in an hour to reach the boat. However, as they make their way toward it, they're captured by the fishes. Key and her baby are taken, and the situation escalates as the military attacks. Theo and Marichka manage to break free from the chaos. Theo pushes through the fighting, desperately searching for Key. He finally finds her and the baby in a nearby building. Luke tries to prevent their escape, but Theo tells him, "It's a girl." Luke, with a somber look, replies, "I had a sister once." Despite the confrontation, Theo and Key manage to escape, slipping away from the violence and chaos. Amid the chaos, everyone in the building stops and stares in awe at the sight of Key's baby. As they step outside, they encounter the army. The moment the soldiers see the infant, one of them shouts for the fighting to cease. The soldiers, moved by the sound of the baby's cries, lay down their weapons, momentarily halting the violence. However, the fragile peace is short-lived. A bomb explodes nearby, reigniting the conflict as the fighting resumes. Theo and Key eventually reunite with Marichka. They find a rowboat, but Marichka, unwilling to leave, decides to stay behind. With heavy hearts, Theo and Key row away without her. From the boat, they watch in horror as military jets begin bombing the area, destroying everything in their path. Theo, severely wounded and bleeding, asks Key to keep the baby close, no matter what happens. Key, filled with both sorrow and hope, declares that she will name her baby Dylan, in honor of Theo's late son. As Theo succumbs to his injuries, the boat drifts towards safety. The movie concludes with the arrival of the boat named Tomorrow, offering a glimmer of hope for the future. As the screen fades to black, faint echoes of children can be heard. Please like and subscribe the channel for more videos like these.